What is up, you guys? It is Dr. Kathleen Nash with Total Transformation, and in this video I'm going to tell you how you can boost your body sculpting results, whether that's red light therapy, whether that's some kind of freezing therapy. Boost it by 230%. Cue the intro. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it because you came here to find out how can I boost my fat loss results or my inches that I lose with a body sculpting treatment by 230%. So in order for me to tell you how I did that, I did it to myself. I first have to tell you what a body sculpting treatment is. So body sculpting treatments are either treatments that you use some kind of a laser therapy, a cold laser therapy to stimulate the fat cell, get it to open and get the fat to leak out of the cell. Or you might use a freezing therapy technique where they literally freeze the fat cell in the target area so that the fat is released and the cell is destroyed. Both methods totally work. However, if your body is not in a position where it can burn body fat effectively, your results will be very temporary. You won't see a good result. The machine that I use in my office is the Photonica laser. The Photonica laser gets 2 inches off the target area in 30 minutes, and that's guaranteed. That means that that's what the FDA tested with the laser. FDA results with the Photonica laser showed that on average, people that used it for 30 minutes lost over 3 inches, but 98% of subjects that were tested with the Photonica laser lost 2 inches. So that's the one that we talk about, that's the one that I talk about on TV, and that's the one I talk about with other videos, and that's what I tell my evaluations when we talk about the Photonica laser. However, the Photonica manufacturer also said that this treatment keeps the fat cell open for up to 72 hours afterward. So I got to thinking, well, what if I do a treatment on myself and I tell you what the results were immediately in that half an hour of treatment, and then what can I do or what did I do that basically increased the amount of fat that I lost for the 3 days afterward. So let's get into it. And just so you know, I'm looking down because I made notes. I want to make sure I get you guys all the information. So if I look down, it's because I'm making sure I don't miss anything. The first thing I want to tell you is that while the laser does keep the fat cells open for up to 72 hours afterwards, the first 24 hours are going to be the most critical, and that's where you're going to get the best result. So I did the Photonica laser on Saturday morning, February 3rd. In the 30 minutes that I did the laser, here, I'll post the results here. This is the results that I got in the first 30 minutes. So I achieved 2.6 inches lost. Those 5 measurements are going from my stomach, my upper abdomen, my belly button, my lower abdomen, or the thickest part of my hip, and then the thickest part of the left and the right thigh. That's what those 5 measurements mean. Let's talk about how I got the 2.6 inches in the 30 minutes to begin with. The first thing that I did is I did my Photonica treatment first thing in the morning. The reason I do it first thing in the morning is because the longer my body goes without eating, the lower the hormone insulin is in the blood. And usually after about 10 hours of not eating, you're burning about 50% of every calorie you burn from body fat. So my body, at first thing in the morning, because it's been so long since I've eaten, is automatically more receptive to burning body fat. If you can't do it first thing in the morning, ideally you want to go as long as you can without eating before you do the Photonica laser. Now just know most red laser or most cold laser treatments tell you that they don't want you to eat for at least 1 hour before the treatment, but if you are insulin resistant, that's not going to be very effective. In this particular situation, I went about 10 to 12 hours without eating before I did my first treatment. The second thing that I did is after the 30-minute session, I went immediately to the gym and I worked out. And I worked out for about an hour. The kind of workout I did was a cardio-based workout. Why? Because cardio workouts in general burn body fat as their primary source of fuel. They are aerobic. Fat burns well in the presence of oxygen. That's what aerobic means. So that's what I did. I did not do resistance work because when you rip and tear the muscle with resistance training, the body will tend to put water in that area and the muscles will actually swell a little bit as they repair the tears that you've done from weight training. So for the 3 days that I was maximizing the effects of the inch loss from the laser, I stuck with a cardio-based program. I purposely did it immediately after the Photonica treatment because my body had released 2.6 inches of fat out of the fat cell that was ready to get burned. So I put my body in an environment where it needed to use and burn that energy. The next thing I did is I used sweet sweat with a compression belt to compress the area that's my trouble spot, which is the hip. My upper abdomen's pretty decent, but my lower abdomen is where my body tends to carry the weight. I used the sweet sweat compression with the gel that they use, or the waxy substance that they use. You put it on the skin and then you wrap that part of the body with the compression garment. I purposely did it while I was working out. By compressing that area, especially my trouble area, it helps release more fat. Like imagine squeezing a sponge. It's doing that to those cells that were just excited and stimulated. So it helps leak more fat out. Also, by wrapping it like that and putting the sweet sweat material, the sweet sweat product on my skin, it increases blood flow to that area and it increases heat to that area. So it just helps the body get into that area a little bit more. The next thing that I did, I waited as long as I possibly could on Saturday before I ate my first meal. And this goes back to the issue of insulin. The longer the body goes without insulin being stimulated, the more and more and more it's relying on its body fat stores. So it had already been about 10 hours before when I did the Photonica laser since the last time I had eaten. Then I had to go to the gym, then I had to work out for an hour. I also did the sauna for about 20 minutes after I did the 1 hour workout. I did that to help get water to come out of the body to help release water retention. I also did it to help release toxin, right? So saunas are really good at releasing toxin. Plus the body has to work a little bit to try to get it to cool down. So when it's sweating and releasing that sweat, that takes a little bit of energy too. By the time I was done with the sauna, it had been a good 13 hours since the last time I ate, but I pushed it to about 16 hours until my first meal. So I went 16 hours without eating, and I put the laser treatment somewhere in the middle, and I worked out afterwards. When I did eat, I ate about 1,540 calories. I'll put it right here. I'll show you what I ate. The macros that I did for that 1,538 calories or 1,600 calories, whatever it was, 70% fat, 18% protein, 12% carbohydrate. Again, this is an insulin strategy. Dietary fat doesn't have much of an impact on insulin. The more dietary fat you eat, the less of an insulin response you get. If you eat dietary fat, however, with a refined carbohydrate, a grain, an alcohol, a sugar, and oftentimes even when you eat it with a starch, you'll get an insulin response that can potentially shut your body fat burning down. So I made sure that throughout the 3 days after I did the laser treatment, I kept my dietary fat high, 60% or higher. I tried to go as far as 70%, and the carbohydrate sources that I ate stayed very low and usually came from green vegetables. That was where I got my carbohydrate source from. How much water did I drink? Not a whole lot, not the first day, maybe 50 ounces. There wasn't really a reason for that. It's just that I was getting busy and time kind of got away from me and I didn't actually do it. How did my 24-hour results do? So 24 hours later, I measure myself again, and this was the results after 24 hours. So again, another 2¼ inches came off of my body in the first 24 hours after treatment. That's exactly the kind of result that I want to see, right? I almost doubled my results right in the first 24 hours, which again proves my point that it's the first 24 hours that matter the most. Within the second 24 hours, this is what I did. The second day, I worked out first thing in the morning. I did not do the sauna. I ate about 1,600 calories. My macros were 60% fat, 21% protein, 19% carb. It was in fact my highest carbohydrate day, and as a result, I only saw slightly less than an inch of fat loss in that second 24-hour period. Could I have seen more if I had kept my macros closer to the 70% fat? Who knows? But still, seeing almost another inch come off of the body in another 24-hour period, I was happy with that. Again, I woke up in the morning and I worked out first thing. It was a cardio workout. I purposely did it where insulin levels now are even lower. So there wasn't a whole lot of insulin in the blood by this point, and a lot of my glycogen or sugar stores that the body will put either in skeletal muscle or liver was getting depleted as well. What else did I do? Oh, that night, I also did a plyometric workout, right? So I did jump rope, which I'm not very good at, so it's kind of funny. I did jump rope. I did it outside. It was cold. There's a reason for that, but I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, so I did the jump rope, and then I would do squat jumps where you squat down and you jump up, and you squat down and you jump up, right? When you do a plyometric workout, you start getting into the fat in between the muscles, what's called the intramuscular fat. Intramuscular fat is kind of like the marbling on a steak. So if you look at a steak and you see those white streaks going through the meat, that's intramuscular. And plyometric exercise helps to get into those. It's something that physique competitors or athletes will do when they're trying to get their body fat percentages really low. They're not seeing a lot of body fat on the outside, but they see their body fat as a little bit still too high when it gets measured. They'll do stuff like this to help get the fat out from in between the muscle. I ate about 1,630 calories. The macros were 72%, so I'll put it right here. 72%, 17% was protein, 11% was carbohydrate. So again, everything that I can do to manipulate insulin and keep insulin low and put an energy demand on the body where it has to burn more calories than it's getting, forcing the body to go after the body fat. And because the area from the laser was stimulated, it's naturally leaking more so out of that specific area. I did not do the sauna. I only did the sauna the first day. This was the day of least return. So I didn't see very much return on this day at all. So in those 3 days, my calorie range went from about 1,540 to 1,630. It stayed within a 100 calorie range, and it was in a deficit with most of the calories coming from dietary fat, then protein, and the lowest macro was carbohydrate. As a result of doing everything that I mentioned to get better results with that Photonica laser, instead of only achieving a 2.6 inch loss just from the 30-minute treatment, I achieved a 5.97 inch loss in 3 days, going from right below my breasts to the middle of my thighs all the way around. I lost almost an inch off of my left thigh. I lost like a half an inch on my hip. I lost, I think, an inch on the upper abdomen and an inch right at the belly button. Amazing, amazing results. 230% boost to the Photonica laser treatment simply by making sure that I stayed in a calorie deficit. I put an energy demand on my body, and I kept my macros within a range that didn't produce a lot of insulin. Other take-home points that I want to mention, like honorable mentions about things you can do. The manufacturer of the red light treatment says you can use compression garments. I really don't see much of a result with those, something like Spanx, but you can certainly try them. Also, you can get a lymphatic massage since the body fat has to travel through the lymph nodes in order to get to the laser. I didn't do that either, but that is certainly something you can do to boost your results. And my water intake varied anywhere from 50 ounces to about 100 ounces. You might be able to get better results if you're drinking more water than I did. So those are the take-home points. I hope this gives you a lot of information if you're looking at doing either a red light session, a cold laser session where you're stimulating the cell to release fat from a certain area, or if you decide that you want to use a freezing technique to help sculpt the area of body fat that you want to release it the most. Also, if you like the information that you're getting from the videos and the channel, please make sure that you give this a thumbs up. It lets other people see the information so that they can get help too. And please subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button with the little bell. It lets you know when I release new videos, which I try to do at least once a week, to help you reach your fat loss goals, keep them there permanently, eating more calories than you probably have before while maintaining a lower weight. Next week, I will be coming to you from South Korea, from Seoul, South Korea. I'll be excited to be vlogging over there and showing it to all of you guys. Please make sure that you stay tuned for that. If you have any questions about how do I travel and maintain my weight loss, or what kind of tips or tricks do I do, or how do I eat somewhere like a foreign country and maintain my weight loss when the culture's different and the food's different and everything's different, please make sure that you comment below. And next time I talk to you, I'll be talking to you from Seoul. 안녕히 가세요.